1 in 8 U.S. couples of childbearing age have experienced infertility. And chances are, if you haven't personally been touched by infertility, you know someone who has. Nicole Witt is the executive director of the Adoption Consultancy and a former infertility patient, and she's joined by Warren Pattison, who dealt with infertility in his family and is now a proud adoptive father. They're here to explain how to stay focused and positive during infertility treatments and the whole process surrounding it. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
You know, Nicole, a number of my friends have gone through infertility and infertility treatments, and it's so much more devastating than people who haven't experienced it let on it, you know?
It is, absolutely. And studies show that people going through infertility have the same levels of anxiety and depression as people battling terminal disease, such as cancer. So it's really devastating. And I think part of it is because it's still such a taboo topic in many ways that keeps people from reaching out and getting the support that they need.
But you're also, if you're going through treatments, you're also going through, you know, testosterone, hormone treatments, whatnot, estrogen. Can that have an impact on it as well, just in addition and compound
absolutely,
it?
Absolutely. That, I mean, it affects the moods. And on top of that, of course, you're dealing with the implications to all of your relationships and your work schedule and the finances. So you've got all that stress, and then you have the hormones and the mood changes and so on. And it makes it so difficult, and it's not something that people are comfortable talking about or sharing what they go through. So then everybody's kind of trying to go through it just inside their own head.
It's a very personal thing, and the treatments are very personal.
Absolutely.
Personal too. Warren, your partner went through infertility treatments, I understand.
Yeah, my wife did, yes.
And how was that experience for her, and how was the experience for you?
Well, infertility kind of takes over your entire life. Every aspect of your life is touched, and so it's one of those things that in many ways becomes all-consuming, and so it interrupts your schedule. Obviously, it interrupts, it affects your time together as husband and wife. I mean, your sex life is affected.
Sure.
It can become just extremely difficult to really just figure out how you're going to get from day to day.
So as tough as it is, you have to take a step back, and you want us to focus on the prize, pretty much.
Right, right. Absolutely. You know, there's a quote that says, if you focus on the goal line, you won't see the hurdles along the way, which is a little unrealistic to say that people going through infertility aren't going to have challenges and obstacles.
Of course.
But what's really important to remember, which is hard to remember when you're in the throes of it, is that if you want to be a parent, you will be a parent. There are so many options today. You know, there's intrauterine insemination, there's in vitro, there's surrogacy, there's egg donor, there's adoption. So you will be a parent if you want to be, and it may not be through that path that you envisioned.
It may not be through the planned path, the initially planned path.
And that's hard. You know, there's loss and mourning associated with that, but you can be a parent. And interestingly, studies show that once you are a parent, you're likely to be a more attentive and more motivated parent than people who didn't work quite so hard to get there. So that's a good goal.
Is that true for you, Warren?
I would like to think so, yes.
As you mentioned, when did you decide to adopt? You're an adopted father, or yes?
Yes, we actually, our infertility journey, our journey to parenthood was about 7 years altogether.
7 years.
And we had explored adoption very early on, but had decided that we were really wanting to figure out how we could be biological parents, and so we were focused on that for so long, and really discovered ultimately, as Nicole said, you want to keep your eye on the goal line, that we discovered that really what we wanted to do was to be parents, and being pregnant was not necessarily as important as becoming parents. So we adopted our son about 2 years ago, and it's been just a tremendous experience. We're thrilled to be parents.
Well, congratulations to you too. And another really important point, if you're dealing with infertility treatments, things, again, aren't going as you had planned. You want people to create closure.
Right. You know, I think when you go through any life crisis, everybody stops and says, why me?
Right.
And it's really important to come up with an answer to that question so that you can move forward. I created my own closure, and it was a rather drastic approach. I left a corporate career. I started the Adoption Consultancy. I get to help people like Warren and his wife Angie adopt every day.
And you've added so much more joy to your life, I'm assuming.
Right. It's so fulfilling, and other people need to find their own reasons why.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for both coming and for opening up about this topic. Again, it's not something that many people talk about, and I'm thrilled we did. Nicole, Warren, thank you.
Thank you so much.
After the break, if your child's having self-control issues, we have help.